Hey, story time, friends. We are now on chapter 8 of The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. Now, remember to pay close attention. If you do your questions with complete sentences, I give you less the next day, right? So, answer each and every question with complete sentences. All right, let's get started with chapter 8, Toad's Adventures. When Toad found himself in prison, he flung himself on the floor and shed bitter tears. "This is the end," he howled. "Oh, unhappy and forsaken Toad!" With cries such as these, he passed his days and nights for several weeks, refusing even food and drink. Now the jailer had a daughter, who helped her father in the lighter duties of his job. She was quite fond of animals, and said to her father one day, "Father, I can't bear to see that poor beast so unhappy and getting so thin. Let me take care of him. You know how I like animals. I'll make him eat from my hand, sit up, and do all sorts of things." Her father agreed, so that day she went on her errand of mercy and knocked on the door of Toad's cell. "Now cheer up, Toad," she said on entering. "Sit up and be sensible, animal. And do try and eat a bit of dinner." Toad sat up slowly, dried his eyes, sipped some tea, munched some toast, and soon began talking freely about himself, the house he lived in, the doings there, and how important he was. The jailer's daughter saw that the topic was helping Toad as much as the tea. "Tell me about Toad Hall," she said. "Toad Hall," said the Toad proudly, "is a gentleman's residence dating in part from the 14th century, but complete with every modern convenience. Up-to-date plumbing, 5 minutes from church, post office, golf courses." "I don't want to try to buy it," said the girl, laughing. "Tell me something real about it." Then Toad told her more about Toad Hall, and the stories of him and his best singing songs, telling stories, entertaining. When he said goodnight, Toad was very much the same self-satisfied, confident animal that he had been of old. They had many interesting talks together after that. The jailer's daughter felt Toad had been wrongly imprisoned for a one-car wreck and for being rude. Toad, of course, in his vanity, thought she had fallen in love with him and felt it sad that he would have to break her heart. One morning, the girl did not seem to be paying proper attention to Toad's sparkling comments and witty sayings. "Toad," she interrupted, "just listen, please. I have an aunt who is a washerwoman." "Think no more about it," said Toad. "I have several aunts who ought to be washerwomen." "Do be quiet, Toad," said the girl. "You talk too much. As I said, I have an aunt who is a washerwoman. She does the washing for all the prisoners in this castle. I think if she were approached in the right way, bribed, I believe is the word, she would let you have her dress and bonnet, and you could escape from the castle as the washerwoman. You, too, have the same figure." "We don't," said the Toad in a huff. "I have a very elegant figure, for what I am." "So has my aunt," replied the girl. "For what she is, being Mr. Toad of Toad Hall, I suppose you wish to be escorted from prison in a carriage?" Toad knew she was right. If he wanted out of prison, he must be humble, at least for a moment. "Introduce me to your aunt," he said. "We'll make a deal." Next evening, the girl ushered her aunt into Toad's cell. The sight of certain gold coins that Toad had placed on the table in full view convinced the aunt. In return for his cash, Toad received a cotton gown and apron, a shawl, and a faded black bonnet. "You're the very image of her," the jailer's daughter giggled. "Now, goodbye, dear Toad, and good luck." With a quaking heart, but firm footsteps, Toad set forth cautiously on what seemed to be a most harebrained and dangerous task. But he was soon surprised as how easily he passed for the washerwoman. Prison guards had let him pass through every gate and door he came to. They also called out silly remarks and flirted with the washerwoman. Toad managed to hold his tongue. but he was quite offended indeed. It seemed hours before he crossed the last courtyard, but at last he heard the iron gate click behind him, and he knew that he was free. Some red and green lights and the sound of a train engine caught his attention. He made his way to the railway station and found that the train, bound in the direction of his home, was due to start in half an hour. "More luck," said Toad as he went on to the booking office to buy his ticket. He gave the name of the station in the village near Toad Hall and put his fingers in search of money where his vest pocket should have been. He fumbled all through the dress and found not only no money, but no pocket, and no vest to hold a pocket. To his horror, he remembered he had left both coat and vest behind in his cell, along with his wallet, money, keys, watch, matches, pencil case, all that makes life worth living. The clerk stared at him with the faded black bonnet a moment, and laughed. "Either pay or move, madam. You're blocking other passengers." Baffled and full of despair, Toad wandered blindly down the station platform where the train was standing, and tears trickled down each side of his nose. "Hello, little mother," said the engine driver. "What's the trouble?" "I'm a poor washerwoman," said Toad, crying. "I've lost all my money, and I must get home tonight somehow." "Got some kids, too, waiting for you?" asked the engine driver. "And they'll be hungry," sobbed Toad, "and playing with matches." "If you'll wash a few shirts for me when you get home," said the good engine driver, "I'll give you a ride. It's against rules, but no one will know." Toad scrambled up into the cab, agreeing to something that he had no intention of doing. They covered many and many a mile. Toad was already thinking of what to have for supper as soon as he got home, when he noticed that the engine driver was leaning over the side of the train and listening hard. "It's very strange," he said to Toad. "We're the last train running in this direction tonight, yet there's an engine on our rails coming along at a great pace, with men waving axes, billy clubs, revolvers, and canes, all shouting the same thing. Stop, stop, stop." Then Toad fell on his knees and cried, "I will confess all. I'm not a simple washerwoman. I am the well-known and popular Mr. Toad, the squire of Toad Hall. I have just escaped from prison. Please, sir, don't make me go back. Help me." The engine driver looked down upon him very sternly. "What were you put in prison for?" "I only borrowed a motor car," answered Toad. "I didn't mean to steal it." "I don't like motor cars," said the driver. "Steal them all if you want. Cheer up, Toad. I'll do my best, and we can beat them yet." They tried to outrun them, but their pursuers slowly gained. The engine driver said, "There's just one thing left to do. Up ahead is a tunnel followed by some woods. We'll rush through the tunnel. When we are through, I will shut off the steam and put on the brakes. And the moment it's safe, you must jump and hide in the woods before they get through the tunnel and see you." They piled on more coals, and the train shot into the tunnel and out the other side. The driver shut off the steam and put on the brakes, and the train slowed down. Toad heard the driver call out, "Now, jump!" Toad jumped, rolled down a short hill, picked himself up unhurt, and scrambled into the safety of the woods. Peeping out, he saw his train disappear at a great pace. Then out of the tunnel burst the pursuing engine. When they were past and the woods became silent, Toad had a hearty laugh. But he soon stopped laughing. It was now very late and dark and cold, and he was in unknown woods with no money and no chance of supper, and still far from friends and home. Finding a hollow tree, he crawled inside and did his best to sleep. And that will do it for Chapter 8. Now, answer those questions with complete sentences. You do a good job, you'll have fewer questions the next time. See you next time for Chapter 9. Have a great day.